Okay, everybody, welcome to our broadcast tonight. So we're going to be talking some eBay stuff, specifically having to do with Halloween, seeing that we're now into September and October is just around the corner. And I always tell my clients who think this is crazy, right? A lot of times we start talking about Halloween, and I've actually been talking about it since about mid-July. And I've been talking about it in mid-July because a lot of times if you're going to be ordering product from overseas or carrying some of your own inventory, you really need to start making those orders as early as July so that you can get them, have them ready to go by, whatever it is, mid-August to late August latest. And then you can be posting and trying to sell as early as September, because you got to remember, people who are, big-time Halloween people are already looking for costumes right now, and especially those people who are big-time Halloween decor people are likely already shopping for decor, because you don't shop for decor in mid-October or towards the end of October when Halloween is. You're shopping for decor in September so you can start decorating your house right when October rolls around, which for us is in less than a month. So this is why we talk about Halloween early. If you're a regular seasonal seller on eBay, you don't think about the holiday during the month that the holiday is happening. You've got to be thinking about it long before, and that's a lesson I had to learn the hard way when I first started on eBay. Because mid-October, I'm like, oh, I should be selling Halloween stuff, and by then, everybody who was selling had already prepared and was selling, and I couldn't get there on time. So that's why we're talking about this today. Now, this right here, what you're looking at, this is from the National Retail Federation, and every single year they come out with statistics that indicate what's trending, where people are spending their money, what people are spending their money on. And I'm going to share with you some of those statistics from 2016 so you guys can have some kind of a clue as to what's going to happen here in 2017. Okay, so some historical Halloween spending. Halloween spending has been going up for a while, and you can see in this graph here, it goes back to 2005, all the way up to 2016. But you're looking at a dramatic increase, nearly 3 times the spending in billions from 2005 to 2016. People are spending money on Halloween stuff, and that's not even debatable after looking at a graph like that. It says most shoppers will spend their budget on costumes and candy, which shouldn't surprise you, right? Halloween's such a big costume holiday as well as candy holiday. That's what the majority of things are spent on. But there's a lot of money in some of these other categories. So it says Halloween shoppers plan to spend on average $82.93, of which 67% will be spent on costumes and candy. Now that's pretty substantial, but you can see over here there's other categories at play. People are buying greeting cards and people are buying decorations, and I'm not suggesting for you guys who are looking to make money in Halloween that you should be selling greeting cards or candy. There's not money in it for small retailers. There may be for some of the big box stores, but even then the margins have to be razor thin, and probably are just a way to get people into the store anyway to buy higher margin items. You're going to struggle selling candy and greeting cards. Where you're going to make your money is in costumes and decorations. And as illustrated here on this graph, decor is in teal and costumes is in yellow. So the average shopper decor sales are going to be around $24. The costume sales will be around $31. Now that's average, right? So that includes those people that are buying virtually nothing, excuse me, versus those people that are buying those big outdoor inflatables in the yard, or that buy the $250 witch that sits on the porch that animates and lights up and makes sounds. Right, these are just average numbers. So I know you guys aren't getting super excited over seeing that the average shopper is $82.93, but hopefully what we're trying to target here is the high side of that. The group that's above the average, that's spending hundreds of dollars, and those people are out there for sure. Okay, so this is historical Halloween celebration. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but It just says 171 million Americans plan to celebrate Halloween. That's you're basically 7 out of 10 people are celebrating Halloween. So that's just to illustrate how big the holiday actually is. This talks about how people celebrate. So handing out candy will be the number one thing people do and did in 2016 last year. But you can see here, nearly half of people are dressing in a costume. This is an interesting little market here that I highlight every year. 16.2% of people are going to be dressing their pet in some way. So Halloween pet costumes is an interesting little niche. If you can find some suppliers there, that actually might be a good spot to look to take advantage of the holiday. There's going to be parties. Nearly 71% of people are going to be handing out candy. Pumpkin carving, visiting haunted houses. Nearly 30% of people taking their kids trick-or-treating. That's probably what I'll be doing. This one is big in my opinion. This 48.6% of people are decorating. They're regular decorators. They're going to be decorating their home, their yard for Halloween, and that's a market we can take advantage of. Which Halloween activities are growing in popularity? Costume dressing is clearly growing in popularity. Your pet, throwing a party. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that slide. This is an interesting one. If we've decided that a good portion of the Halloween budget is allocated to costumes, then you should be immediately asking yourself, okay, what kinds of costumes are people going to be buying? And how can I know that before the season happens? It's easy to look back after the season and say, oh, well, such and such movie was popular at that point. Why didn't I think about that? Everybody was dressing up as X, Y, or Z. Right? The last few years, a lot of Star Wars because that's been very popular again. You kind of have to look at what's trendy. And the suggestion here is that these are the avenues that you should look if you want to figure out what's trendy and where people are getting their ideas for costumes. So you've got a graph there. You've got general online search at 34%. People will get their ideas sometimes the good old-fashioned way, which is number 2 there, just by walking into a retail store, seeing what's available, and buying something. Pinterest is big. Instagram is going to be bigger this year. You've got YouTube and some of the other social media. So these are some ideas. If you're not really into dressing up or Halloween or pop culture, you seriously ought to look here in these different avenues to kind of see what's going on. You know, you can check hashtags like Halloween costume, Halloween decor, and see how people are decorating and what's popular at the time. Where will people shop? Is this slide right here, and you can see 22% of people are going to be shopping online. So that's obviously big for us. Some demographic stuff. Men versus women on how they spend their money. There's nothing really notable here because we're going to be selling to all of these demographics. This is just kind of an interesting chart. Okay, this should be interesting to you guys. So, this is the top 10 costumes. Okay, so action superhero costumes have dethroned princess costumes as the top choice for children, ending an 11-year reign. So this was just last year. For 11 years, ask my daughter, right? She's 3. She wants to be a princess. That is the number one children's costume and has been for a while. Well, that was shortly overtaken by being an action hero of some sort. So, I mean, these are basically staples. Like, if you have no idea and you're not going to spend a lot of time doing research, you can look to this list and say, okay, these are the types of things people are buying. Being an animal, number 3. Batman, number 4. Star Wars, like we talked about. Frozen is still very popular, so on and so forth, okay, for kids' costumes. Now, adult costumes, which are between the ages of 18 and 34, still very popular too. Adults are going to Halloween parties, and you can see there's growth in the Halloween party trends. More and more people throw them, which means more and more people are dressing up. And there you go. There's some ideas for selling adult costumes as well. That's certainly a market you can take advantage of. Okay. This is adults 35 years or older. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this slide. This one's an interesting one. I told you that the pet costume industry is one of the parts of Halloween that's growing more and more. Last year it was the second highest portion of Halloween that had the highest growth rate. More and more people are dressing up their pets. So here's the top ideas for pet costumes if you want to look into taking advantage of that. Okay? And that's it. So just some general suggestions at this point, guys. You saw trends and ideas, and these are real numbers. The NRF, they are a prominent organization that comes out with really good, legitimate numbers for holidays of all kind, and I trust these numbers, and you should too. So what can you do to take advantage of it? Right? It's the 5th of September right now. Halloween shopping is already happening right now, but the major portion of the season hasn't started yet. That's not going to happen until the end of the month, early October. So what can you do? Well, if you want to carry some of your inventory, you could source some product right away today. Look for cheap Chinese product out of Alibaba or AliExpress, and look to bring some over and sell it. You're at a disadvantage, though, because a lot of that stuff doesn't get over to America for 4 to 6 weeks, and in that case, you're behind the 8 ball. And the problem with Halloween is, if you don't sell it before October 31st, you're either practically giving it away or you're saving it until next year to sell. So you've got a window here. Carrying inventory for Halloween is a little more risky, right? It's different than carrying other types of inventory that you might be able to sell all year long, because Halloween you're not. And that's the same reason why when you walk into, the grocery store, a department store after, February 14th, you'll see those carts out there full of Valentine's merchandise, right? Because practically giving it away 80-90% off because they can't get rid of it. The timing is pretty key. So if I were you, I'd be a little nervous about sourcing my own inventory this early, but use this as a lesson. Next year, start sourcing and looking in July if you want to go down that route. If you want to get into just drop shipping, retail drop shipping, you're going to notice there's lots of good options online right now. And we may talk about this a little more in another webinar, but high level, guys, you can go out onto the major retailers and you can find stuff that they're listing for Halloween right now and start posting it. And that's not a bad plan, because remember, this is drop ship. If you post something and it doesn't sell, it's no big deal. You're out just a little bit of time. But you can find good sellers from the major retailers. The third thing I'd look at is not so major retailers. Look for those retailers online that are not household name retailers. They'll carry more unique Halloween stuff. You can just Google it. Look for the top pet costume was dressing your pet up like a pumpkin. So look for pumpkin pet costume in Google. Skip through a lot of the well-known names and find some lesser-known websites and start remarketing their stuff right there on eBay. Mark it up, sell it, drop ship it. The other thing you can do is you can look for domestic wholesalers that do domestic wholesale manufacturing of Halloween stuff. You can buy that stuff now. You can find that stuff out online on Google just as easy as anybody else can. Or you can look for some wholesale drop shippers out there for Halloween stuff. However you try to take advantage of the season, do it. Don't let it pass you by without taking advantage of it. There's too much money in Halloween to not look at it as an internet retailer. And I'm not suggesting you throw out every other one of your products and just have a store 100% in Halloween stuff. I'm not saying that at all. but I'm saying that's an option. You can load it up, and you can, maybe have 30 or 40% of your stuff in Halloween, a lesser percent maybe if you have more items. But the bottom line is take advantage of it. Get a feel for it. Maybe it's not your holiday, but you can sell their stuff, right? You don't have to love Halloween to make money off of it. I actually love Halloween, and having kids now, it makes it even more fun. And it's a fun holiday to sell because people get excited. And from a retail drop shipping standpoint, um, you know, there's a lot of money in it because people don't price shop as hard in Halloween. It's like, hey, I found this really great mask that I really like. That they're going to buy it for 35, 40 bucks, and they may not go out and price shop it like they would, shopping other industries. It's very much, I guess I don't know the word for it. It's a lot like selling furniture, home decor, stuff that's, it's all about what it is in terms of, what you want, and being willing to spend more money on it as opposed to getting something more practical. Although, there are those people that, that buy and certainly consider how much they're spending, but there's people that really don't, right? Like the fact that somebody's going to go out there and buy one of those $400 animated vampires on the porch is crazy, right? But people do it, and there's money in it. So the outdoor inflatables that I mentioned earlier in the video has been a great seller year after year, probably for the last 4 or 5 years since I've really been pushing Halloween. So that could be a good option for some of you guys that are interested in doing it. The blow up mummies and pumpkins and Disney figures that go out on your front yard or your backyard. People love those. So anyway, guys, I hope that's helpful. I hope that makes sense. Take advantage of it. Use it. Good luck working on your Halloween sales, and we'll see you guys all next time.